Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. You all know how much I love the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, and it is election time. And so I'm very excited to have my friend Jason Marquis. He's with Watson Realty Corp. He is running for one of the board of director positions at Aura, and I'm excited to have you on. Welcome, Jason. How's it going?
Good, Ted. How are you? And welcome to all of your listeners. And I hope you are having the best day ever in real estate.
I love that. We are having the best day, and we're going to learn. We want to learn about you before we started talking and went live. I said that they love origin stories, so they want to know a little 411 on Jason's background before real estate.
Well, before real estate, I am a proud graduate of the Florida State University Gulf Seminoles. And up until 2020, I commuted back and forth I started my real estate career in Orlando in 2019. And up until this year, I commuted back and forth from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, home of the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. I am a converted Tide fan because my father was dear friends with several of the professors at the university and accidentally met Coach Saban one day at the Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, and they became friends. But prior to real estate, I was a diplomat with the United Nations. I was the non-judicial court administrator for the Rwandan Tribunal out of college, and worked for the UN for 5 years
Wow.
as the non-judicial administrator for phase 2 of the Rwandan tribunals.
That is so amazing. See, I don't do any research on the guests, so that's why I always love origin story, because I never know what you're going to say. I did not expect that out of anywhere. How did you, before we take a deep dive, obviously, to Aura and the candidacy in real estate, how did you get involved with that? Was that a goal? Did you stumble into it?
Well, when I was in college, international relations and industrial relations were a few of my degrees, and I've always had a passion. And I've grew up as a Navy brat, so I lived overseas off and on several times throughout my formative years. So I always wanted to travel, and I always wanted to work overseas, and wanted to do something in service. I've always had a servant's heart. So I was either going to go into the diplomatic corps at the Department of State, or try and get a job with the UN, because I loved the UN and I loved the work of the UN. I know people knock the UN, but for all of its detractors, the UN does far more than people ever realize.
I believe that.
Not only do they handle hundreds of thousands, up to, I think the last count was 1.5 million to 2 million, for want of a better term, refugees. The proper nomenclature for that is either an internally or an externally displaced person, so either an IDP or an EDP. And so they take care of those people. They make sure that there is clean water in areas that don't have clean water. They make sure that you have access to healthcare, that it's not 500 miles away and it takes a 10-day trip walking and riding a camel or riding a horse. Because believe it or not, in 2021, people still travel via animal hundreds of miles to get to basic
Mind-boggling.
services.
It's mind-boggling. We already have a question.
Okay.
Tell me, they want to know how you made the transition
from real estate. So
I was thinking it the whole time, so I love it.
So we rotate through my particular phase of the tribunal ended, and I was waiting for a job to come open at UN headquarters in Manhattan. And the person who had been there for well, technically she's still there. At the time she had been there, she's been there now for almost 55 years. She was there 35 years and was getting ready to retire. Who was a mentor of mine was like, "Oh, I'm going to retire. You can, I did the job interview and was waiting for her to retire. She never retired. So I took a leave of absence because my father was living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at the time, and he was a podiatrist, and he needed help running his office because his office assistant, his office manager, was going on maternity leave. And so I came back because I really did not want to work in the Sudan, being the assistant director of an IDB camp, refugee camp, because I didn't want to have to deal with not having air conditioning and running water 6 hours a day and electricity 6 hours a week.
Wow.
And so I took a leave of absence, came back, ran my father's office, was looking for something to do because the 3 months became 4 months, the delay for her retirement. And so I was like, you like people? I saw a friend of mine was in real estate. Take the class, you do it, did it, never looked back. And technically, I'm still on a leave of absence from the UN.
Unbelievable. I love this story. All right. So, to the meat of it, really, and thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
So it's one thing to become a realtor. Obviously, all realtors, if you want to have access in Orlando anyway, or Central Florida, you need to become a part of Aura in order to get your access. There's a whole bunch of reasons why realtors get involved. Why take it the next step further? What is it about being on the board that you want to try to accomplish? What's the motivator there?
Okay. So my motivation is when I became a realtor in 2007 in the Birmingham area in Alabama, the second thing that I did is I got involved at the association, because if you cannot complain about how the association is working if you're not willing to get involved.
Amen to that.
And so from there, I just grew in. I got on the board in Birmingham. I got got plugged in at the state of Alabama level. I plugged in at the National Association of Realtors level. I have been a vice chair of a committee at the National Association of Realtors level, and the only reason that I did not move up to the chair of that committee was at the committee that I was working for, which was the Multicultural Real Estate Leadership Advisory Board. I realized that it's a million miles long, but basically what that does is that the National Association of Realtors reaches out to the multicultural and those targeted groups, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, NAREP, the Asian Real Estate Association of America, ARIA, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, NAREP, the LGBTQ Alliance, which was NAGLREP at the time. That it's bringing those disparate groups together under an advisory group so that the mothership of the 1.5 million members of the National Association of Realtors, how do we reach those subgroups and those minority populations that feel that they can't, that the auras of the world at the local level, or the Florida Realtors at the state level, or at the national, they don't, how do they work with them, and how do they reach them, and how do they touch them and make sure that their lives are impacted? And so I was the vice chair of that. The chair of that committee was the first always the first vice president, the person who was going to run the association in 2 years from that time. So that's why I didn't move up, because I was not elected first vice president of the National Association of Realtors in 2017. But so I've always had a servant's heart. And when I joined Orlando in 2019, the second thing I did after I joined was get on a committee. And I have been on a committee. I only serve those committees that I am passionate about, and have been an advocate and an ambassador for Aura and Central Florida with my connections throughout the United States. Because I
Go
go
ahead.
out, and one of my huge passions is political advocacy and the RPAC. And one of the roles that I've served at the national level was as a RPAC national fundraising trustee, and I represented all of the affiliates, both not only just the title companies and the non-realtor members, but also the ancillary organizations, the Women's Council of Realtors, the Real Estate Business Institute, the Residential Realtors Council, the CCIMs, the all of the commercial people as well. And I would go out and speak on behalf of why you should give to the PAC. And so through that and traveling across the country, I developed those relationships. And now people ask me, well, what's going on at Aura? Tell me about Orlando. I hear that Orlando is the place to move to in all of Florida, because people, when people think of Orlando, the first thing that they think of is the park. But Orlando is so much more than the park. It is, and the market is so much more than a second home resort market. It's this incredibly rich, diverse, multicultural melting pot mecca that is a future alpha grade city.
I agree. I think we are just growing and can, God bless you, and
Thank you.
continue to expand in ways that people haven't even thought of yet. All
Yes.
right. So how do our realtors who are watching, who, as you know, a lot of times the realtors don't get out and vote. It's a thing that we all try to encourage the realtor group to do every year, or every time there's an election. How do they find you, and how do they vote for you, Jason?
Okay. So what they need to do is they need to go to vote.associationvoting, one word, vote.associationvoting.com/Aura, ORRA.
And look for you.
And look for me. And then if you go on to the OrlandoRealtors.org page, look up the candidates, and you'll be able to see my information and my consent to serve and my video and my why. And if I am lucky enough and blessed enough to be your voice for your association, I would be honored if you would consider voting for me. We have some incredible other candidates running for all of the offices, and I hope to be among the top 4, and to make sure that those that don't have a voice at the association, or feel that they don't have a voice, they will have a voice if I am elected to the board of directors.
Fantastic. You heard it there. Look for Jason Marquis. We will put the first link in the comments. And then, of course, you can go to OrlandoRealtors.org, look up Jason, see his video. But whatever you do, if you are a voting member of Aura, get out and vote. It's easy to do. And you want a candidate just like Jason to serve on your board and represent you. Thank you so much for taking time today. It was amazing. I love that story. You guys get out and vote, just like any time we talk about voting on this show, please.
Yes, if you are a member of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, even if you don't vote for me, make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that you have a stake in this, in how this association is run currently and into the future. The Orlando Regional Realtor Association is 100 years strong, and we want to make sure that 100 years from now, our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren who are blessed to be in this wonderful profession we call real estate have a job and have access to the advocacy work and the educational opportunities that the Orlando Regional Realtor Association provides to us.
Fantastic. All right, Jason Marquis, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Get out and vote, please. We'll put all the links in the comments. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Jason.